everybody. I'm Leslie, and this short video will help you figure out how to sit when it's time to meditate. So as you can see, I've got a variety of tools here, and it's fine if you don't have any special yoga or meditation items. We'll figure out a way to make it work no matter what you've got in your home. So the two priorities when it comes to figuring out how to set yourself up for a meditation sit are uprightness and ease, and finding a nice compromise between those two ways of being. The uprightness is a priority just in terms of your body's physiology. Being upright is a little bit of a different situation for your blood pressure, and that encourages you to stay alert. So there is such a thing as reclined or laying down meditation, but your mind and your whole system will tend to start simmering down and settling down if you choose to lay down, and you might end up falling asleep, which is not the end of the world. But if you want to give yourself a little bit more of a chance to stay alert, I would say try your best to sit up. And then in terms of finding ease, we're going to have to balance which is what's happening for the joints of the lower body so that your spine can stay nice and tall. So what I mean by that, and I'll show you on my own body, is that however you choose to sit, what we're looking for is an inward curve in your low back here. The same inward curve that would be there when you're standing up. So sometimes when you try to sit on the ground, just some restrictions in the hips and in the knees can make it so that your pelvis rocks back and you end up with a rounded back. Again, it's not the end of the world. It just won't feel as easygoing over the length of your meditation sit. So some things that can help make your sit more easeful would be setting yourself up so that your hips are higher than your knees. And you can use things like a meditation cushion, a stack of blankets, or some yoga blocks to sit your hips up. So what that might look like is sitting pretty much cross-legged with your shins or your ankles crossing over each other, or you might feel comfortable placing one foot in front of the other. And there's no such thing as too much height under your seat. So what works for me today might not be what works for you, and you might want significantly more height under your hips so that what's going on right here, right at your hip joints, is not too much gripping so that your seat feels light and easygoing. Some things that can happen when you're attempting to sit on the floor are that your knees really are lifting up, and the gripping sensation or the gripping work can come here to the front of your hips. So some things you can do to alleviate that and to support yourself would be to add some additional prop underneath the outside of your thighs or the outside of your knees. So if your hips are already elevated, you might add a little bit of gentle elevation with maybe some cushions. I'm just using folded blankets. If you don't have a ton of blankets laying around, you might sub in some towels. So again, no such thing as too much. I'm just showing one folded blanket under each side to let your legs feel supported rather than hanging out in the air. And if you are going to try to sit down on the ground, maybe with a cushion or some folded towels or whatever it is, one thing that can come when you sit cross-legged is a little bit of a off-kilter imbalance, just because of the nature of the way the shape is in our legs. When we sit cross-legged or one leg in front of the other, it can send your pelvis and your whole spine a little bit off-center, and it can be take away from your sense of ease in that seat. So some meditation teachers are strong proponents of avoiding the cross-legged position or anything like lotus or half lotus or even easy pose, Sukhasana, which is like this one, just one ankle in front of the other. And they strongly recommend that you use your bench or your stool or your meditation cushion or whatever it is. Rolled up sleeping bag will sometimes work in a way that supports you with kneeling. Now, I'm on a hardwood floor right now, so I'm going to give myself a little bit of padding here with a couple of my blankets and set my meditation cushion up vertically so that I can kind of straddle it like I'm sitting on a saddle. And how far apart my knees are, it's kind of up to me. Some people will feel more comfortable with their knees right in. You might let your knees go out to either side. And this can open up a little bit of space in the back of your knees and in the front of your ankles. And if one folded up blanket or one block stack isn't high enough, please add more. Allow your hips to lift as high as your knees and your ankles are asking for so that they can feel the most at ease. A little bit of discomfort is going to come up just by the fact of sitting there for a long time, but there's no sense in tolerating so much discomfort that you can't even meditate because the sensation is so strong and so distracting. If you have yoga blocks but not a meditation cushion, yoga blocks can make a great little stool. And when you go to kneel over them, you might start with one or two, but the idea will be to frame the blocks with your ankles and then sit your sit bones onto the block. So I'll show you from the side what that might look like to get into. So I'm starting in a table pose and then hugging the blocks with my ankles and then aiming my sit bones, the bottom of my pelvis, to come right back onto there. And then once you're there, you can kind of shift and wiggle and get sorted. A lot of people can feel a little bit more grounded once you've chosen the style of sitting you're going to try by lifting just a little bit of your flesh out from underneath your bones so that you can connect with your bones a little more solidly. So lift the good stuff up and back out of the road. And then you can feel the connection between your bones and your support a little bit more clearly. So you can see I have a little inward curve here. It doesn't have to be anything extreme. You can be pretty relaxed, or the goal is to be pretty relaxed, but more or less upright. Finally, and I love this option, you might just forget about the floor and go for a chair. All I have right here with me is one of these cold metal chairs, but you might have something a little bit more comfortable in your home. And what the chair offers is just completely setting aside a lot of what can be difficult about sitting on the floor when it comes to hips, knees, and ankles, just in terms of crunching those joints up and not letting them have nice space. So there's a couple ways to organize yourself when you're sitting up on a chair or a bench. You might choose to perch just on the very edge of the chair. And depending on how long your legs are, for some people it will feel pretty supportive to add a little bit of height under the feet. You can see that makes my knees higher than my hips, so I don't want that personally. And some folks who are very tall and on a small chair might actually want to elevate their seat on the chair, again, so that the angle from hips to knees is low. You want a bit of a downhill from hips to knees. If this feels like it actually takes a lot of energy to keep yourself upright when you're sitting perched on the edge of a chair, it's fine to move back and lean on the support that's there. So you might snuggle your bum right to the back of your chair and then just lightly lean your back body into the support there. still trying to stay mostly upright to support your mental alertness. The last thing that can come up when we're sitting in meditation that can take away from our sense of ease are some sensations around the neck and shoulders and arms that can make it feel like your arms are gonna fall off your body and that there's so much tension pulling with the weight of your arms. So that might benefit from adding a little bit of height on your lap, whether you're cross-legged or whether you're kneeling or whether you're sitting in a chair. Well, some height on your lap through any form could be just a pillow from your bed so that your arms have some support. The same way that we were supporting the outer legs in a cross-legged sit on the floor, it's nice to give any of your limbs that bolstering effect of having something to rest into. Some people feel really at ease with palms up. Some people feel more comfortable with palms down. But to be honest, when you choose to try meditating for longer periods of time, there could be tensions and discomforts that arise, and how you choose to engage with those sensations will depend on how you're choosing to engage with your meditation. You might adjust your position to be more comfortable, or you might witness those uncomfortable sensations and see if it's tolerable to stay in a balanced state of mind while you're witnessing them. So I don't have any strong recommendations for you on that. That'll be Danette's, our meditation facilitator. That'll be her expertise to share. Okay, try all of these out. You might kind of cycle through them and see which one ends up working for you in the long run. And I wish you some productive and peaceful meditation sessions. Thanks.